Overnight, Donald Trump's bots returned to the platform that once banished him for posting false claims about the election. Trump returning to the conversation Monday for a conversation with Musk. Technical issues delaying it from the start for more than 40 minutes. Musk blaming a so-called denial of service attack, a kind of cyber attack that floods a server with traffic to force it offline, saying the massive attack illustrates there's a lot of opposition to people just hearing what President Trump has to say, though he provided no evidence of such a cyber attack.
Other than the fact that the entire system was shut down for 40 minutes. But beyond that, Good Morning America, there's no evidence provided whatsoever. Ba-da-ba-da-bam. Ba-da-ba-da-bam. Yes, I want to get to President Trump speaking to Elon Musk last night for 2 hours, approximately, plus the 40 minutes of left-wing radicals or perhaps their Islamist allies in Iran, maybe their communist pals in China, involved in a denial of service to Elon Musk for his scheduled, planned, announced discussion with former President of the United States and future President of the United States, Donald Trump. Isn't that amazing? Yes, it is. It most certainly is. And I do want to get right into a bunch of that. Also, the free speech under assault in Great Britain, free speech under assault in the European Union, a French European Union commissar threatening Elon Musk and, by extension, Donald Trump for doing an interview on X and threatening sanctions and punitive actions by the European Union. I think ready the cruise missiles. It's time that Europe got a little freshen up, a little wake up call. Pretty amazing stuff we've got going on there. Yes, it is. And an amazing story about this French person. EU warns Elon Musk ahead of Trump interview to keep hate speech off X. Sure. And this French European Commission representative threatening Elon Musk and the CEO of X, Linda Yaccarino. And the company may face penalties and restrictions in Europe if it doesn't address the spread of illegal content. And some French leftist transgender, is he genderless or transgender? Which is he? Non-binary? What is he? Pretty amazing stuff. You're threatening us? If I'm Elon Musk, I'd just shut off X in Europe today. Say, okay, I just switch it off. This is the patriarchy. We give you electricity. We give you energy. We give you medicine. We give you instantaneous global communication. We give you air travel. We give you everything. You just sit down and shut up, silly little French man, and dress like a man today, why don't you? Thierry Breton, B-R-E-T-O-N, Thierry Breton. And it's, of course, the French, Thierry, it's Thierry Breton, European Commission for the internal market. Yeah, I got your internal market right over here. So and he's threatening on this French person. Honestly, that's it. There's a travel ban. He can't come to the United States, and we shut off X to all of Europe until he is gassed. I'll just say gassed right now. We'll negotiate and scale it back to just imprisoned because he's threatening the world. Lefties, they don't believe in free speech. They don't believe in free markets. They don't believe in freedom. They believe in the state. Pretty amazing stuff we got going on there. And you're threatening who? Huh? Amazing. Yes, sir. Also, free speech under assault in Great Britain and the United Kingdom after a Rwandan young man massacred 3 little girls at a dance party where he stabbed, I believe, 9 other little girls in addition to the 3 that he butchered, that he murdered. And the public has not responded well. The response by the left-wing government there of Prime Minister Starmer is to crack down on free speech. See, because when the massacre happened, somebody online said it's probably a Muslim immigrant that sneaked illegally into the United Kingdom that did it. They were wrong. It was the son of 2 Rwandan immigrants that did it. But they think that because of all the massacres and butchery using knives by Islamists. And, you do that 40 or 50,000 times, and before you know it, you got a reputation, Kidnappings, orange jumpsuits, kneeling on the beach, hands behind the back, decapitations. Do that thousands and thousands of times, and before you know it, reputation is had. It's a terrible thing. All right, let's go to the interview with President Trump, conducted by Elon Musk, centibillionaire, one of the richest people in the world and in the history of the world. And he bought Twitter and renamed it X because he likes the letter X. He's got SpaceX and he likes the X thing. So pretty amazing stuff. But let's get to President Trump speaking to Elon Musk, talking about Joe Biden and the physical medical state of Joseph Robinette Biden.
Now, Biden's, close to vegetable stage, in my opinion. Okay, I looked at him today on the beach, and I said, why would anybody allow him? The guy could barely walk. Why would anybody allow him? Does he have a political advisor that thinks this looks good? He thinks this looks good because it looks so bad.
That's true. It's Weekend at Bernie's. If you saw, and I'm sure you did, the video of Joe Biden in a low-slung beach chair looked comfortable, and he's sprawled out, and Dr. Jill was sitting next to him, and she looked furious, didn't she? She looked really angry that I'm the first lady, and you're taking it away from me because your brain is a broke, and she no work anymore. And Dr. Jill, who's not a doctor, and she loves the Secret Service, she doesn't want to leave. She doesn't want to leave the White House. When I say she loves the Secret Service, that'll come out later. But amazing. So, and this has people in the media upset. The left-wingers at Mediaite, radicals, they spread hate speech and misinformation. They should be canceled in Europe, I think. The toolkit should be used against the people at Mediaite because of all the misinformation and disinformation they put out. I'm just saying, because that's what they should do, since they're punishing speech in Europe again. Mediaite with Trump insults Biden as, quote, close to vegetable stage, end quote. During interview with Elon Musk, quote, the guy could barely walk. These are the headlines. And here's a picture of Joe Biden sprawled out, and he's in a coma. It's Weekend at Bernie's, and there is the President of the United States. And the news media is upset. Former President Donald Trump claimed President Joe Biden was close to vegetable stage on Monday during an interview with billionaire Elon Musk. And they're very upset. Now, here's the thing. They'll call that hate speech or misinformation, and they will ban it because they're fascists. And then in 3 weeks, they will admit that it was true because that's what keeps happening over and over again. Am I right? Here's Elon Musk talking to President Trump last night.
The whole thing is crazy.
Well, he's clearly not, he's clearly like, we just don't have a president right
You
now.
don't have a
That's just
president.
obviously the
And
case.
she's going to be worse than him because she is a San Francisco liberal who destroyed San Francisco, and then as Attorney General, she destroyed California. You talk about location, and we're talking about the sun and the water and all. There's nothing better than California. She has destroyed that. She was the original DA. She was the original in San Francisco. She was the original Attorney General in California. What she has done to California is, well, you know better than I do. You just left California for a lot of those reasons.
She has fundamentally transformed, along with Gavin Newsom. This is the fundamental transformation of America. Now, again, they didn't say they were going to make it better. They said they were going to fundamentally transform Barack Obama and the radical left that has always hated America because it represents freedom and human liberty, and they're opposed to these crazy ideas. Amazing stuff. But this is it. It's the open borders. It's you better learn to speak Spanish. Venezuelan gangs are going to butcher your family, and that's okay. Murder and rape at knife point in New York City, Coney Island, along the beach, under the boardwalk, and then they attack you as a racist if you notice it, because the party of the KKK and the bullwhip and the plantation loves to call people racist. President Trump talking to Elon Musk, again, for about 2 hours last night.
She is considered more liberal by far than Bernie Sanders. She's a radical left lunatic. And if she's going to be our president, very quickly, you're not going to have a country anymore.
Very quickly. And that's, it's the fundamental transformation. It's what they've promised. It's what they've threatened Elon Musk as an immigrant from the nation of South Africa.
I supported Obama. I stood in line for 6 hours to shake Obama's hand when he was running for president. I call myself, historically a moderate Democrat, but now I feel like we're really at a critical juncture for the country.
Critical juncture at this juncture. He self-describes as a moderate Democrat. He supported Obama, it was good with Obama because he was a billionaire even then. He stood in line for 6 hours to shake Obama's hand. Now he can buy and sell Obama like he's a cheap street thing from Tijuana. Speaking of which, you see the young Americans that were drugged in Cancun at a resort and they barely made it out alive. And the family saying they don't know if their son, a daughter, are going to be kidnapped and sold into sex slavery or have their organs harvested. The Democrats love harvesting organs. That's something that they do. They love that. But Elon Musk, I supported Obama. I waited in line for 6 hours to shake his hand. That is pretty crazy, isn't it? And he said, I've always been a moderate Democrat, and now he's supporting Donald Trump because he sees that the commies are here. Elon Musk.
I think a lot of people thought, the Biden administration would be a moderate administration, but it's not. People out there who are in the moderate camp to say, I think you should support Donald Trump for president.
Yeah, that's wild as that might seem. Donald Trump, tell you about, Biden Biden, he was claiming yesterday, day before yesterday, he's done such a great job with the economy. It's like Hitler saying he did a great job with construction projects in Germany.
The thing that they really is making them angry is what Kamala and Biden have allowed to happen to the economy. It's a disaster with inflation. The inflation, it doesn't matter what you make. The inflation is eating you alive.
That's a fact, Jack. And, they took inflation that on Inauguration Day was 1.4%, drove it to 9.1%, and brag about what a great job he's done with the economy. It went back down to 3%, which is still twice as high as it was on Inauguration Day. But never mind that, because the New York Times applauds and they touch themselves and they say, this is great. Isn't this economy great? It couldn't be more wonderful. Thanks to Joe Biden, who doesn't know what month it is and what hemisphere he's in, but pay no attention to that. Got much more of Donald Trump with Elon Musk. A lot of good stuff in there. The news media irate as usual, and we've got some of them too. And your Democrats, they're not free speech people. They're not on our side. They're not. You're, of course, aware that your feet support you throughout all your summer adventures, day and night, no matter what you're doing. You might be tired of shoes that promise comfort but fail to deliver. Introducing G-Defy shoes with VersaShock technology. Unlike ordinary brands of shoes, G-Defy shoes offer superior shock absorption and trampoline-like energy return, helping provide relief from foot pain, knee pain, ankle pain, even problems with your back. I love mine. They're great stuff. My best girl's got a pair too. We love them. We heck around the city. Whether you're an athlete, a busy parent, always on the go like so many of us, G-Defy shoes offer the comfort and versatility that your feet crave. So say goodbye to discomfort and hello to unparalleled support this summer Every pair includes 2 free supportive orthotics and a special lateral stabilizer to help improve your stride, your run. As a listener to this show, to our humble show, you get to enjoy a special summer offer. You visit gdefy.com and get $20 off your order of $100 or more with the code CHRIS. That's simple, CHRIS. Go to gdefy shoes, GDEFY, GDEFY.com. Don't forget to use the code CHRIS for $20 off your order of $100 or more. Experience ultimate summer comfort with GDefy shoes. Visit gdefy.com today. Yeah, President Trump and Elon Musk together again. The media very angry, of course. I'm expecting at least one of them to self-immolate before the day is out. They're not well. We are at 888-630-9625. Now, the Washington Post has someone that calls himself a reporter. His name is Cleve Wootson. Cleve Wootson. Cleve Wootson was in the White House briefing room yesterday. He should be banned permanently forever. Washington Post, White House correspondent, and he's talking to Raggedy Ann, and he wants to know why Joe Biden and the White House don't stop Elon Musk from interviewing Donald Trump.
Elon Musk is slated to interview Donald Trump tonight on X. I don't know if the president is going to tune in. Feel free to say if he is or not. But I think that misinformation on Twitter is not just a campaign issue. It's a America issue. What role does the White House or the president have in sort of stopping that, or stopping the spread of that, or sort of intervening in that? Some of that was about campaign misinformation, but it's a wider thing, right?
He's with the Gestapo. He's with the East German secret police, the Stasi. He is just anti-American, un-American, and Cringe responded in a tedious and tortured way, and she annoys me. But Cleve Wootson at the Washington Post, and this dovetails perfectly with the story I was sharing a short time ago, that the European Union, a European Union lefty, is threatening Elon Musk and Donald Trump he was yesterday ahead of the Elon Musk interview. And he's honestly saying that the European toolbox will be whipped out to inflict punishment upon Elon Musk and or Donald Trump if any misinformation, disinformation, or hate speech comes out in the that was hate speech right there.
Misinformation on Twitter is not just a campaign issue. It's a America issue.
That's Cleve Wootson of the Washington Post yesterday in the White House briefing room. And Raggedy Ann, Cringe, she was agreeing and nodding, and they're in bed together. They're on the same page. And that goes perfectly well with what we got out of the European Union yesterday, threatening Elon Musk and Donald Trump ahead of their interview with a European Union Commissioner, Thierry Breton, warning them that in Europe they may pull out the entire toolkit to impose sanctions on Elon Musk and on Donald Trump if this Frenchman decides that there was misinformation or disinformation or, God forbid, hate speech in the Elon Musk-Donald Trump interview. And so a threatening letter went from the European Commission to Elon Musk and to the CEO of X, who is a woman named Vaccarino. And Ms. Vaccarino, the CEO, she didn't take very well to this, and I like her for that. I think it's very important that Linda Vaccarino responded the way that she did. She responded to this Frenchman's letter, to Thierry's letter threatening European sanctions against Elon Musk and Twitter, X, and theoretically Donald Trump for what he decides is misinformation or disinformation, like all Frenchmen are women. Is that a thing? Like French rifle sale, never used, only dropped once. How about that? Is that allowed under your rules, Thierry? How about that? How about why are the boulevards of Paris lined with trees? So the Germans can march in the shade. See, is that misinformation or disinformation? Or is that appropriate French satire, mockery? Just saying. So Linda Yaccarino, the CEO, responded by saying, this is an unprecedented attempt to stretch a law intended to apply in Europe to political activities in the U.S. I think I would ban everything French just for a minute, and they would collapse their economy. That would be good. Linda Vaccarino also said it also patronizes European citizens, suggesting they are incapable of listening to a conversation and drawing their own conclusions. Well, that's what the fascistas do. That's what they do. And, and here's Cleve Wooten at the Washington Post saying, oh, shouldn't the White House take action to stop Elon Musk from interviewing Donald Trump, you little fascist? And that reminds me of the turtle of Mitch McConnell when he was the minority leader in the Senate and Harry Reid was the majority leader and the Democrats had control, and they decided during Barack Obama that there would be no 60-vote requirement to put federal judges, Barack Obama's radical left-wing, terrorist-loving federal judges on the bench. You'd only need 50 votes because Harry Reid had 50 votes. It was easy, but not 60 votes. And, they start taking away our standards and taking away our rights, taking away the way we do things in the United States. And the turtle warned the Democrats.
If you want to play games, set yet another precedent that you'll no doubt come to regret. Say to my friends on the other side of the aisle, you'll regret this, and you may regret it a lot sooner than you think.
And the turtle was right. Mitch McConnell was right. So you want a 50-vote majority instead of a 60-vote majority for federal judicial appointments. And then before you know it, sooner than they had expected, Donald Trump became president. The Republicans had 50 votes in the Senate, and Donald Trump put 3 people on the U.S. Supreme Court using 50 votes because the Democrats threw out the rules. Now, Cleve Wooten at the Washington Post yesterday was advocating for a White House that would trample the free speech rights of Elon Musk and Donald Trump, a former president and a centibillionaire who owns a major media platform. And Cleve Wooten at the Washington Post wanted to see the state steamroll free speech.
What role does the White House or the president have in sort of stopping that or stopping the spread of that?
And with this Frenchman in the European Union threatening sanctions against Elon Musk and against X and against, theoretically, Donald Trump for speech. Isn't that amazing? And then, of course, Nigel Farage writing a piece in the Telegraph saying that the British Prime Minister is the current left-wing British Prime Minister is the greatest threat to free speech in British history because 3 girls were slaughtered by a 17-year-old man who's the son of Rwandan immigrants in the United Kingdom, and he stabbed about 9 other little girls too. And when people online suggested it might be a Muslim immigrant, well, that means it's time to stop free speech, to trample free speech, which they're doing. And now let's go to the Democrat Party's governor from Minnesota, Tim Walz, who is Kamala Harris's running mate now that she's the de facto president because the party bosses moved the president out of his position because they're saving democracy, Never mind all of the primaries where Joe Biden got 14 million Democrat Party votes across the country. They're going to throw that out. Then they're going to throw the president out, the elected president. Then they're going to call the vice president, who didn't get a single vote in the primaries in 2020, 2019, 2020, didn't get a single vote. And now she's the de facto president and the candidate, even though she didn't even participate in the primaries. But never mind all of that. And then she picks a running mate who is a radical leftist that thinks that schools should be able to change the gender of children without notifying the parents, and that there need to be tampons in the boys' rooms in junior high schools and high schools in Minnesota, because you never know when boys might start having babies and stuff. But here's Tim Walz, who is Kamala Harris's running mate on free speech not existing in the United States of America.
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
Yeah, okay. Vaccines prevent you from getting the Wuhan Red Death or not. Masks don't prevent the virus from being transmitted. But the state spread the misinformation, and Joe Biden spread the misinformation and the disinformation that getting vaccinated would keep you from getting the Wuhan, and getting vaccinated would keep you from spreading the Wuhan, and wearing masks will keep you from spreading the Wuhan and keep you from getting the Wuhan, just to name a few things. Then there's Russian collusion and Donald Trump and the Hillary Clinton dossier, misinformation and disinformation. Again, I would refer you to the Mitch McConnell Turtle Boy admonishment and warning that you may regret this, and sooner than you think, Cleve Wooten, as you and Tim Walz go to trample free speech and put the state, the White House, the government in charge of free speech, and to trample an interview with a former president, which means that they can trample over the rest of us much more easily, much more handily. Former president who's a billionaire, talking to a centibillionaire, and they want to, and he was smirking, Cleve Wooten was, smiling gleefully that the White House could stop free speech in America, which dovetails perfectly with Tim Walz, which dovetails perfectly with the warning coming out of the UK from Nigel Farage about the prime minister there trampling free speech, Keir Starmer, which goes with the left-wing European Commissioner, Frenchman Thierry Breton, talking about trampling free speech. And when free speech is gone, then all other rights fall like dominoes. No big deal. Right? That's right. Let's take a phone call. Western values are under assault. Western civilization is under assault by Iran and Islamists, by China and Putin and communists, and by the Democratic Party, which isn't democratic at all. These people are not liberals. Let's take a phone call, Michael, and then we'll get back to President Trump talking to Elon Musk. Under assault from France, from the UK, from the United States, from the Washington Post. Free speech under assault. Tim Walz, Democrat governor, gender dysphoric. He's got a lot of issues with the LGBTQ stuff. He founded the Gay Straight Alliance in school when he was a school principal. Keep him away from the kids. Let's go to Sid calling from Los Angeles, California. Sid, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Good morning, Chris. The reason I'm calling is that they're already saying Donald Trump has misinformation. I'm wondering about Kamala. Everything she does is disinformation. Charge of X, any post that she would make about if she's strong on the border or fighting inflation or anything like that should be labeled as disinformation. This is all. There's so much evidence that everything she's saying is not true, and it's just a political ploy to get votes. And so I think that if I were in charge of X, I even sent Mr. Musk an email suggesting that he put disclaimers on anything that the Harris campaign posted on there.
You know, you're absolutely right. She says she's strong on the border, and Joe Biden and the news media say that she's been strong on the border. And that's misinformation up the yin-yang, big time. She steals Donald Trump's no taxes on tipped income from, what people earn on tips, whether you're a waiter at a restaurant or a croupier in Las Vegas. You live on tips. Most of your income comes from tips. It should be pointed out, by the way, that it was Kamala Harris that came in as vice president, a 50-50 split Senate. And the Democrats launched this fraud. They what do they call it? They called it the Inflation Reduction Act. The Inflation Reduction Act, and they said it would reduce inflation. And they didn't have 51 votes, so they brought in Kamala Harris to break the tie. And Kamala Harris's vote led to the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act. Now, the Inflation Reduction Act specifically added, $80 billion to the IRS, brought in 80,000 additional IRS employees. And guess what they did? Part of the Inflation Reduction Act was to target people who weren't paying their fair share on their tipped income. This is a straight up fact on the tips, the Inflation Reduction Act. And it was Kamala Harris that came in and broke the tie to make sure that the Inflation Reduction Act passed, which it did. And that expanded the scope, the scale, and the activities of the Internal Revenue Service, specifically in the language to go after employees that make their money off of tips. So she's the one who is literally responsible. And here's a headline on it. Kamala is literally the reason why tips are taxed, by Todd Starnes, formerly of the Fox Business Channel, now on his own. And he points out that over the weekend, Vice President Kamala Harris literally stole one of President Trump's signature economic recovery measures, no tax on tips. But he goes on to point out that it was Kamala Harris, when the Senate was tied at 50-50 on the Inflation Reduction Act, Kamala Harris that was brought in 2022 to cast the tie-breaking vote to pass the Inflation Reduction Act, approving $80 billion in additional funding for the IRS. And the IRS launched the tip reporting program under this program. So the IRS specifically targeting people who make money on tips. And it was Kamala Harris that made sure that that passed through the Senate and became law after Joe Biden scratched on it. And this is amazing stuff. So, when she says that she is for not taxing people on tips, that's misinformation and disinformation and probably hate speech. And these people couldn't be bigger commies. The reality is these people are un-American. Am I right, Sid?
I think you're right. You give a good reason why these should be identified on X. People really say that this is misinformation. She's a total liar and basically making up things as she goes along. And there's no credibility to anything that she suggests.
And you nailed it, Sid, with, the border is secure thanks to her. That's misinformation. That's disinformation. And the left would trample your free speech, but not their own, because the left is fascist and everywhere in the world. We've seen it for 100 years. Were it not for double standards, they'd have no standards at all. And when they talk about trampling free speech with a smirk, like Cleve Wootson at the Washington Post, they're only talking about your free speech. They're not talking about the smugness of these arrogant authoritarian hacks. Amazing stuff. Sid, thank you. You're absolutely right. You know that the best-selling Eden Pure Thunderstorm Air Purifier uses Oxy technology that helps to quickly destroy a whole lot of different viruses and odors, mold spores, and more in the air in your home, in your office. Thousands of 5-star reviews online. It works like a champ. My best girl and I have 2 of them at home. Love them. Any smell will vanish after just a few seconds with the thunderstorm being on. Odors from litter boxes and cigarette smoke and even dirty diapers and left-wing protesters are no match for the Eden Pure thunderstorm. The powerful thunderstorm sends out these O3 molecules that seek out and help destroy odors. The molecules even go behind and underneath furniture. Nothing can hide from the thunderstorm. And best of all, you don't have to buy filters every few months and replace them on a schedule. Spending money and scheduling, forget about that. They're only this big. You can hold one in your hand. They're about this size. You got to look at them. Right now, you can also save $200 American when you get an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack for a whole home protection. You get 3 units for under $200, so you can put one in the basement, in the kitchen, in your teenager's room, any place you like to breathe clean, fresh air. All you need to do is go to EdenPureDeals.com. EdenPureDeals.com. Use the discount code CHRIS3, CHRIS and the number 3 to save $200. That's EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is CHRIS3. Yeah, these guys, the left. The left is coming for your rights. That includes Tim Walz and Kamala Harris and Barack Obama and this extremely unintelligent, unserious person at the Washington Post, Cleve Wootson. The disinformation is running rampant today, and the fascists, they're fine with their own disinformation. Here's the headline at Newsweek magazine today, based on the Elon Musk interview with Donald Trump last night. Donald Trump says he will flee to Venezuela if he loses. That's the headline at Newsweek. I'm going to play the soundbite for you now. You tell me if this is misinformation or disinformation.
If something happens with this election, which would be a horror show, we'll meet the next time in Venezuela because it'll be a far safer place to meet than our country, okay? So we'll go, you and I will go, and we'll have a meeting and dinner in Venezuela because that's what's happening.
Because that's what's happening. So that leads to the disinformation headline. Trump says he will flee to Venezuela if he loses. Now, he's spitballing and joking. Once again, they take him literally, but not seriously. They have the brains of children, of not very bright children.